Most people think Miami's success is all about palm trees, pastel skylines, and flashy cars. And sure, the visuals are undeniable. The sunsets over Biscayne Bay, the Rolls Royces pulling up to the beachside hotels, the iconic Art Deco buildings lit up in neon. But if that's all you think Miami is, you're missing the real story. Because what makes Miami magnetic isn't just how it looks, it's what it does. This city with just 35 miles of coastline has quietly, and some might say defiantly, transformed itself from a seasonal vacation town into a global heavyweight. Last year, over 27 million people visited Miami. That's more than the entire population of Australia, and those visitors spent over 21 billion fueling businesses, creating jobs, and building something that lasts long after the tourists fly home. But that's only the surface. Here's where things get interesting. While most cities are fighting to stay relevant in a shifting economy, Miami is attracting the very people and capital that are shaping the future. Since 2020, venture capital flowing into Miami startups has skyrocketed from 1.7 billion to 5.7 billion. That's not a typo, that's a movement. And it's not just tech bros or crypto bulls, it's families, it's founders, it's artists, it's CEOs, all drawn to a city that feels like it's not just open for business, but it's ready to reinvent what business even looks like. So this video isn't just about how beautiful Miami is, though I will absolutely get into it. This is about understanding what makes Miami work, why it pulls people in, and why it keeps them here. And most importantly, why the rest of the country should be paying close attention. Because Miami's rise isn't just a regional success story, it's a case study, a blueprint, a warning shot. And whether you're thinking of moving here, investing here, or just trying to understand how cities stay ahead, Miami has lessons that you don't want to miss. So what exactly makes Miami so magnetic? How is it that one city, smaller in size and younger than most major US metros, keeps pulling in people from every corner of the world? After helping hundreds of people relocate, invest, and build their lives here, I noticed something. Miami's magic isn't random. It's not luck, it's a formula, a mix of elements that other cities might have in bits and pieces, but rarely all at once. Think of it like a recipe that only Miami has seemed to figure out. And it comes down to 3 key ingredients. First, it's natural beauty and climate. And I know that might seem obvious, but the impact goes much deeper than you think. Second is its cultural diversity, not just as a talking point, but as a living, breathing force that powers innovation and identity. And third, it's its lifestyle and design aesthetic, the way the city looks, feels, and encourages people to think boldly and live differently. Now, here's the twist. These 3 elements don't just sit side by side, they actually multiply each other. The beauty makes people curious, the culture makes them stay, and the lifestyle gives them permission to evolve professionally and personally. That's why Miami doesn't just attract tourists or retirees, it attracts entrepreneurs, investors, artists, athletes, and families, all looking for something that feels possible here in a way that doesn't feel anywhere else. So let's dive into each ingredient, starting with the one everybody thinks that they already understand, but they probably don't. Let's start with what most people see first, Miami's natural beauty and unbeatable weather. Yes, the beaches are stunning. Yes, the skies are really that blue. And yes, the sunsets over Biscayne Bay can stop you in your tracks, but this isn't just about aesthetics. Miami's climate is the foundation of how the city functions. It's the backdrop that shapes everything from our architecture to our energy to how people spend their days. We get about 248 sunny days a year, and that's over a month more sunshine than the national average. And in February, when most of the country is scraping ice off their windshields, well, here in Miami, we are having brunch outdoors in 75-degree weather. But it's not just about comfort, it's about quality of life. That kind of consistency affects your mood, your habits, and your decisions. I have clients who move here from colder cities, and they constantly tell me that waking up to palm trees and sunshine never gets old. It gives you this sense of openness and optimism, like anything's possible. And the geography here, it's something special. Miami sits on the edge of the Everglades, so you get this surreal blend of wild nature and sleek urban energy all in one place. And there is no other city in America with that kind of contrast. Biscayne Bay alone offers 35 square miles of protected water. That means year-round boating, paddleboarding, fishing without ever having to leave the city. And it's not just water access. Miami has over 800 public parks spread across more than 12,500 acres. That's a green infrastructure that's fully integrated into how people live. Outdoor living isn't a seasonal luxury here, it's just the way of life. From rooftop yoga to waterfront picnics, the city is designed for movement, sunlight, and connection. Even our architecture reflects that, with homes and condos built to bring the outdoors in, using glass, airflow, and natural materials to blur the lines between inside and outside. And because of the ocean breeze, even our humidity is more manageable than people expect. Yes, it is warm, but it's not oppressive. That climate, combined with all of its natural beauty, creates something that's hard to describe until you feel it. Freedom, expansion, space to breathe. And for a lot of people, especially those who are burned out in colder, more rigid cities, that feeling alone is worth the move. Now you might be thinking, is this place really different? Well, that's a fair question. And the truth is, I have had a dozen of clients ask the same thing right before they made the leap. So if you want more honest, unfiltered takes on what it's like living here, the pros, the cons, the trade-offs, the stories behind the skyline, then I want you to hit the subscribe button and I'll walk you through it one video at a time. Now, let's talk about the culture, the heartbeat of Miami. Now, a lot of cities claim to be diverse, but in Miami, it's not just about representation, it's about integration. This is one of the few cities in the US where culture doesn't just sit next to each other, they mix, collide, and evolve into something new. Nearly 70% of people here speak a language other than English at home, and the most common one is Spanish, but you'll also hear Haitian Creole, Portuguese, Russian, French, sometimes all in the same day. In Miami, being multilingual isn't just a novelty, it's normal and it's kind of expected. Take a walk through Little Havana and you will smell fresh Cuban coffee, you'll hear salsa music spilling out of open windows, watch people play dominoes in the park like it's a natural sport. Head over to Wynwood and you are suddenly surrounded by massive street murals from international artists and some of the best global cuisine you can find outside of a passport. Our food scene is the direct result of cultural fusion. You've got flavors from the Caribbean, Latin America, and Southern United States all colliding into what we call Floridian cuisine. It's not a gimmick, it's what people actually eat here. For my clients moving to Miami, especially those from more homogeneous cities, this cultural depth is a game changer. They tell me it's not just that there's diversity, it's that the people here are proud of it. It's celebrated, it's visual, it's alive. And that kind of energy, it fuels creativity, it pushes businesses, and it rewrites what's possible. This isn't just a place where you experience different cultures, it is a place where the cultures shape the city's identity and the economy. You see it in the arts, with over 200 galleries and 50 plus museums featuring Latin America, Caribbean, and African artists who are often overlooked elsewhere. You see it in the events like Calle Ocho and Art Basel, which brings in millions of people a year and turns the streets into a living showcase of global culture. You hear it in the music, from Miami bass to Latin jazz to reggaeton, all of which started here and spread across the world. The cultural firepower doesn't just make Miami more interesting, it makes it more valuable. Because cities that celebrate diversity rather than just tolerate it end up becoming hubs for innovation, and we're seeing that play out right now in real time. But before I jump into businesses and tech, we need to talk about something else that makes this place so powerful. It's not just how Miami works, it's how it feels. Let's talk about the lifestyle, because more than anything, Miami is a city that gives you permission. Permission to live louder, dress brighter, move differently, and think bigger. It's a place where ambition doesn't just mean burnout, it means reinvention. Where people don't just grind, they glide. You feel it the moment that you land. The colors are brighter, the energy is higher, the people look like they actually want to be outside. And that's not by accident. Miami constantly ranks the top 10 fittest cities in America, and you're asking yourself why? Well, it's because the entire city's built for movement. You have joggers who are on the Baywalk, volleyball games on the beach, sunrise yoga on rooftops, and you can take a paddleboard across Biscayne Bay if you wanted to commute to work. This isn't just a city where people hide indoors, this is a city that invites you to live out loud. And the fashion here, it's not just style, it's expression. You'll see the designer labels, sure, but paired with linen pastels, bold prints, gold accents, there's this effortless mix of elegance and ease. This is Miami's way of saying you don't have to choose between comfort and confidence, you can really have both. Architecturally, the city tells a similar story. Miami Beach is home to the world's largest concentration of Art Deco buildings. There are over 800 preserved structures, each one a pastel postcard from the 1920s to the 1940s. But the city didn't just stop there, it evolved. We have cutting edge towers like Zahi Hadid, who built the tower in downtown. These are designs that aren't just buildings, they're statements. And then there's the Design District, which is 18 blocks of luxury fashion, contemporary art, and architecture that feels like it belongs in a museum, but it kind of functions like a playground. Even our homes are built differently. Rooftop terraces, indoor courtyards, floor-to-ceiling glass. The line between indoors and outdoors doesn't just blur, it disappears. Because here, the architecture isn't trying to protect you from the outside world, it's designed to connect you to it. And all of that, the fitness, the fashion, the design, it feeds into something deeper. A belief that life should feel good. That success isn't about sacrificing everything, it's about creating a version of your life that feels expansive, expressive, and fully yours. My clients tell me all the time that after moving to Miami, they feel like a shift, like they've been finally allowed to be a version of themselves that have been holding them back. And that's powerful. It's not just feel-good fluff, it has real impact on our economy, our innovation, and our resilience. But before we get into the numbers, let me connect the dots, because I want to talk about what it actually does for Miami and the people who live here. Because it's one thing to say that a city is beautiful or diverse or has great lifestyle. Lots of cities make those claims, but very few cities can turn those qualities into tangible, compounding benefits, the kind that are going to show up in your life, in your bank account, and in opportunities. Miami can, and here's how the city's magnetic pull isn't just cultural, it's economic. It drives real results, real money, and real momentum. So let's start with the obvious, tourism. In 2023, Miami welcomed over 27 million visitors, and they spent more than $21 billion. That money didn't just go to hotels and beach bars, it supported an estimate 144,800 jobs, and that's 12% of Miami-Dade County's workforce. But that's just one layer, because this isn't a city that lives and dies by tourism, it's built resilience into its model. Going back to 2008 recession and again during the COVID-19 pandemic, Miami's tourism numbers dipped less and recovered faster than almost any other major city. Why? Well, it's because people don't just want to visit Miami, they want to live here. They want to invest here, and they want to build here. That consistent demand creates something economists call a positive feedback loop. More people means more opportunity brings better talent attracts better companies, and around it goes. And of course, let's talk about real estate for a second. Neighborhoods like Wynwood, which used to be full of industrial warehouses, are now thriving cultural economic centers. That transformation didn't happen because somebody built a mall. It happened because the magnetism brought in artists, and then brought in galleries, then cafes, then tech firms, and then investors. It's the kind of urban evolution most cities try to engineer, and Miami's doing it organically. The restaurant industry here, over 6,000 establishments generating $8.5 billion in annual sales, and wages for culinary professionals are higher here than in most comparable markets. Luxury retail is off the charts. The Design District and the Bal Harbour shops are in the top 5 most profitable shopping destinations in America by sales per square foot. And of course, let's not forget Port Miami. It's the cruise capital of the world. Over 6 million cruise ship passengers passed through in 2023, generating an additional $7 billion in economic impact. When a city becomes magnetic, everybody benefits, not just tourists, not just the developers, but everyday residents like you and me, our entrepreneurs, our artists, and our small business owners. But perhaps the most important shift of all that is happening behind the scenes in finance, tech, and innovation. And that's where we're headed next. So far, we covered how Miami's beauty, culture, and lifestyle attracts people, but let's talk about what actually happens after they arrive, specifically the seismic shift that is happening in Miami's business landscape. Because over the last few years, Miami hasn't just become a place to visit, it's become a place to build. We're talking about a city that's gone from laid-back beach town to full-blown economic engine, with serious implications for the future of finance, tech, and entrepreneurship in America. Since 2020, venture capital investment in Miami has exploded. We're talking $1.7 billion in 2020 to over $5.7 billion just a couple years later. And that's not theoretical money, that's startups getting funded, companies hiring talent, and founders putting down real roots. Major financial firms like Citadel, Blackstone, and D.E. Shaw have opened significant offices here. These aren't symbolistic outposts, these are bringing thousands of high-paying jobs to Miami. And tech, it's the same story. Spotify, Microsoft, Apple, they are all expanding their presence in Miami. The city's North Miami Tech Center now hosts over 30 companies from early stage startups to global firms. So what's driving this migration? It's not just the weather, it's a combination of lifestyle, talent, policy, and geography that's almost impossible to replicate anywhere else. Florida has no state income tax, and that's huge, but what makes Miami different from other tax-friendly cities is that it also offers global connectivity, creative energy, and a built-in international workforce. Miami International Airport has more direct flights to Latin America and the Caribbean Caribbean than any other airport in the United States. And over half of Miami residents speak both English and Spanish fluently, creating a serious advantage for any company operating internationally. This is especially important for industries like fintech, health tech, crypto, and logistics sectors where Miami is becoming a major player. From 2020 to 2023, over 18,000 new jobs were added in Miami's tech and finance sectors alone. The University of Miami and Florida International University graduate more than 2,000 STEM students every year, providing a steady stream of local talent. And here's something a lot of people miss. The median household income in Miami-Dade County rose by 15% between 2019 and 2023, far outpacing the national average. That means that people here aren't just surviving, they're gaining ground. Meanwhile, Brickell, now dubbed Wall Street of the South, has one of the lowest commercial vacancy rates in the country. While other cities are seeing empty offices, Miami's leasing activity is rising, with average rents up 12% year over year. This kind of growth isn't temporary, it's systemic, because when a city attracts capital, talent, and ideas, and then gives them room to breathe, it becomes more than a hub, it becomes a launch pad. And just like that, Miami's magnetism isn't just boosting the local economy, it's shaping the global conversation. Which brings me to the final piece of the puzzle, Miami's influence on the world. By now, you probably realize Miami isn't just a local success story, it's becoming something much bigger. Because for a city that was officially incorporated in 1896, making it younger than Chicago's pizza, Miami has managed to build an outsized cultural presence on a global stage. It's no longer just influenced by the world, it's influencing the world right back. Let's start with the geography. Miami sits at the crossroads of the Americas. It's the unofficial capital of Latin America, and it's a gateway to the Caribbean, a southern outpost of the United States, but with its own global identity. That positioning isn't just symbolic, it's strategic. Miami has become the cultural capital of the Americas, and the world is taking notice. In 2025, the Latin Grammy Awards will be held here in Miami, and that's not a coincidence. FIFA selected Miami as a 2026 World Cup host city and the site of the tournament's official fan festival. These choices are about more than stadiums, they're about cultural reach. Miami exports style, sound, and sensibility. From Gloria Estefan and Pitbull to modern Latin trap artists, Miami musicians have shaped global charts. Architectural firms like Arquitectonica, which was founded in Miami, have designed iconic buildings across 5 continents, spreading Miami's bold, colorful, indoor-outdoor aesthetic to cities across the world. Even our food is going global. Miami-born fusion cuisine like Cuban Chinese or Peruvian Japanese have gone from local favorites to international concepts in places like London, Tokyo, and New York. And then there is fashion. Miami Swim Week draws designers from over 30 countries. It sets the tone for swimwear and resort wear trends that ripple out globally every single year. The city's television legacy, from Miami Vice to Dexter to Ballers, has created visual and cultural cues that still influence how the world sees America's cool coastal cities. Our literary and academic institutions are also a punch way above their weight. The University of Miami's Cuban heritage culture is the largest of its kind in the world, attracting scholars from across the globe. And the Miami Book Fair, it's the largest literary festival in the US, and it draws more than 250,000 attendees annually, spotlighting artists from Latin America and the Caribbean and beyond. Even our nightlife, yes, the nightlife is an export. What starts in Miami clubs ends up being replicated in Ibiza, Dubai, and Tulum, often with Miami DJs behind the decks. Here's the point. Miami isn't just reflecting global culture, it's shaping it. And for people who choose to live here, that means access to world-class food, music, design, and ideas. Not someday, not during special events, but every single week. So when I talk about Miami being magnetic, this is the final proof. It's not just pulling in people, it's pushing culture out to the world. And that brings us home. After spending years helping people find their place in Miami, I can tell you this, the magic, it's real here. But it's not just sunshine and pretty buildings. It's not just good food or vibrant music or turquoise waters. It's the way all of it works together. Miami is one of the few places on earth where natural beauty, global culture, and future-focused businesses don't just coexist, they feed each other. It's a city that gives people space to dream bigger, live better, and take risks that wouldn't feel possible anywhere else. And that's why it matters, because cities like this are rare. And if you're feeling that pull, if you've been thinking about making a change or living here, moving here, or investing here, or just seeing what your life might look like in a place built for reinvention, I'd love love to be part of that conversation. My team and I know this market inside and out, from neighborhoods that are heating up to off-market deals and upcoming developments. We have the insights that don't show up on Zillow. So if you're even thinking about making Miami part of your story, shoot me a message at joe@joesellsmiami.com or drop a comment below and let's talk about what's possible. And hey, if this video spoke to you, then you are going to love what I've got coming up next. Click over here to check out my breakdown of the 5 most walkable neighborhoods in Miami, where property values are rising nearly twice as fast as car-dependent areas. These are the spots where you can live the lifestyle you've been picturing, on foot, with cafes, parks, and ocean breezes just steps from your doors. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.